The Foundation of Buddhism, written by Rupert Gethin. And we are still on chapter 7. I guess, if I'm not wrong, unless you could tell me, and we are supposed to come to the subheading, the stage of, I think, we come to the stage, I guess it's called, not the stage, sorry, the scheme of 5 paths, or have we? Oh.
The 7 purification.
Well, we're still in the scheme of the 7 purification.
Yes, in greater detail.
All right. I think anyway, that's the subheading is on page 188. I think our discussion maybe comes to
191.
Well, yeah, 191. I think maybe. Yeah, I think that after the quotation, that means after.
The snake.
The snakes, yeah. The fishing snake, and then he thought that was a snake. And he thought that he catch a fish. So, then he hold by the snake and throw that away. To indicate that that's how the Pali Buddhism, Buddhism in Pali, or you could say the Theravada Buddhism, according to the Visuddhimagga, the path of purification, understanding that how one at that stage attend the stream enter. Okay. All right. I guess yeah, we can still. Otherwise, we can still go on. Anyone start? Do you find the page already?
Yeah. Got it.
Okay.
Okay.
A person initiates, right? Persons initiate. Yeah.
A person's initial satisfaction with his sense of his own individuality is likened to the man's initial delight at grasping a snake. A meditator seeing the 3 marks of impermanence, suffering, and no self through 1, seeing the rise and fall, and 2, the breaking up of phenomena, is like the man seeing the 3 markings of the snake. Just as the man became frightened, so the meditator 3 knows the presence of danger. Just as he knew fear, so the meditator 4 contemplates his distress. Just as he felt distaste for what he had grasped, so the meditator 5 contemplates disenchantment. Just as he desired to be free of the snake, so too the meditator 6 desires release. And just as he devised a means of letting go, so the meditator 7 discerns all dharmas to be impermanent, suffering, and no self, such that they cannot appear to him again as lasting, pleasant, beautiful, and self. So with the 8th knowledge, all formations are seen as empty.
All right, thank you. And next one?
The 8 knowledges culminate at a point where the mind is once more settled and at peace. One should not be misled. Misled.
Miso is a kind of disease, right?
Misled by the rather elaborate and complex descriptions that are given of what happens next. In part, they seem intended to present the profound and subtle nature of an experience which happens very rapidly. With the mind having reached a point of balance, it settles in transcendent jhana, and in a moment it directly sees and understands suffering, its arising, its cessation, and the way leading to its cessation. It directly sees and experiences nirvana. According to the Theravadic sources, this understanding quite literally occurs in one moment. The conditioned world that is samsara, suffering and its cause, and the nirvana, and the transcendent path, cessation and the path leading to cessation, are finally fully known in a single flash of transcendent insight and peace. This is the culmination of previous practice, and this moment in it is itself termed path, magga. In this moment, all the conditions that contributed to the development of the path are at once fulfilled. Frequently, these conditions are listed as 37 in all: 4 establishments of mindfulness, 4 right endeavors, 4 four bases of source in
not sources.
of success in concentration, 5 spiritual faculties, 5 spiritual powers, 7 limbs of awakening, and the Eightfold Path itself. The past moment is understood as being immediately followed by a transcendent jhana of similar qualities, this time termed fruit.
Okay. Let me see. I think that we can have a little pause here and see you have any comment, question. Best is a comment, not a question.
In page 192, it says, after recognizing the 7 steps, it says, with the 8th knowledge, all formations are seen as sunya. So is it the same emptiness we're talking about in Mahayana Buddhism, or is it something that's already exists in a Theravada text?
I think it's very difficult question. I mean, difficult to reply that because this is what if you look at the Theravada text or like a Pali text, you do have something called a Mahasunya. So so I think this is how the at least the path of purification, the way they understand. But they do not take the sunya as from the very beginning. But when they, because like you do have the monks saying that they could always stay in the stage of sunya, but as arahant, like that. Okay. So I mean, this is why if you the way that if you understand how the Pali understand the sunya. And how they understand in other, like later we are going to read the Northern School of Sunya. But when you compare the Mahayana, I mean, sometimes it become like, from that angle, if you look at the Mahayana way, understand the Sunya, it looks like they even actually have different stages of Sunya. Okay. This is how I believe too, but some Mahayana not necessarily believe that way. When I say Mahayana, I mean in general, but I guess if you really look at in their context, it looks like even they also think that sunya is not just one kind of sunya, but it could represent many stages.
So, from my understanding, the sunyata or sunya in the Mahayana Buddhism means the denial of self-existence or swabhava. Does it carry the same meaning here in where it says?
Well, I mean, for sure that all the stages of sunya it has to be devoid of the self. That's for sure. But the problem it is because in Pali Buddhism, so the devoid of the self, even the way of devoid of the self, you can be different stages of devoid of the self. Devoid of the self as the notion of the self is as one. That's usually is believed that for the one who attend the stream enter, then they will attend that kind of sunya that they understand there's the notion of self. But still somehow, because it's like they don't really understand the physical and mental, how to say, you could say the view is not still, the notion or the understanding is not 100% clear and still, you could say, hindered by some defilements. So the notion of the self somehow still could be, like for example, they say that the other level of understand the develop the self is to see the self as and as a, like there was a particle self there. Like some people, if they still attached, I still have pain, I still have not happy. somehow they don't see that as those things as a conditionality, especially when their mind is not really well. But that moment actually is still not in the sunya, not devoid of the self, but still embedded a certain subtle way of understanding. That moment there's a self is there. The self is within our mental and our physical unit, basically. Okay. Why? Okay. All right. I guess. Of course, this is my opinion, because if you understand how this the notion of the self could even has not the notion, the devoid of the self has different stages. Then I guess, but then those stages sometimes even in the general language you could say that as the sunya.
Okay.
Okay. All right.
I do have a question, but it's for the Chinese book that we used. Page 229 on the table. Can we speak in Chinese?
Yeah, and
under the 度疑清净理解因缘But then I thought it was a 缘色受智 It was to explain the 缘受受智, right? So it should not be grouped into the number 5. Correct?
Number 5 is what?
Number 5, 大非道智见清净. I think the 因缘那个缘色受智是属于度疑清净的嘛，是不是？
No, it's between.
It's in between.
Yeah, in between. Because it's from the you start from the purification of, like overcome the doubt. So, and then from there, then you clarify there was a past and future and present, right? So maybe you could put it on there, but actually, I mean, this is when you usually put the draft, is always we have the problem. But then maybe I guess. No, I think it's wrong. Yeah, you should put it down on the number 4, not on the number. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. It should be number 4. Okay. I think the Chinese has a mistake. Put it there, right? Let me see. But accordingly, usually the knowledge of the understanding of the relation, condition should be number 4. Yeah. In English, put it where? Yeah, they put it.
English is the right place.
Yeah, they put it in number 4. Right. Yeah, okay. All right. But we must also understand actually that usually if you want to put the bracket, it should be number 3. The view, the purification of view, actually has something to do with this 缘色受智, contemplation of the conditions, comprehension. Anyway, it's okay. All right. The Chinese is if you're reading a Chinese book, 如果你是看中文的，好，那中文是弄错了，就是从英文来对照也不一样，就是他那个修到第4个知的时候，就第4个清净的时候，度疑清净应该是缘色受知，对。Okay, any other questions?
I mean, this is a question I think you mentioned before. It says here, it's in the second paragraph, it says, basically when you reach that state, having reached a point of balance, is settled in transcendent jhana, and in a moment you direct, sees and understand suffering is arising and cessation, and the way leading to cessation. And then it directly see and experiences nirvana. So I think you did mention this before. There's this debate whether you need jhana to be able to enter into this stage or not? What is your opinion on that?
No, I guess we will have the discussion also on the last subheading. Okay. Okay. All right. Why don't we just move on in that way? So I know that last time when we have this discussion, people are more excited because suddenly they got this so-called stages of the, or maybe you could say the stages of liberation. Here, the stages of purification. Anyway, let's just see what else is been put here. Next one, the
theoretical models of the past allow a number of possibilities concerning precisely what happens when the mind settles in transcendent dhyana. In the first place, the mind may settle at a level of concentration equivalent to any one of the 4 dhyanas. When the mind settles in transcendent dhyana, defilements are not merely temporarily suppressed as in ordinary dhyana. They are once and for all eradicated. The attainment of the transcendent path thus changes one into a different person in the most radical of senses. One ceases to be an ordinary person. How should I pronounce it? Pratajana. And becomes one of the nobles, Arya. That is one of those who has directly seen the 4 truths.
All right, thank you. The next one.
From an early period, the text seemed to have envisaged that the attaining of the transcendent path may not necessarily eradicate all developments immediately. Basically, there are 4 possibilities depending on which developments are actually eradicated. The possibilities are usually set out with reference to the list of 10 bonds or fetters, samyujana, which binds one to rebirth. See above page 72 and 73. By the abandoning of the first 3 fetters, one becomes a spring enterer, sotapanna. That is, one whose final awakening is assured within a maximum of 7 rebirths. By the abandoning of the first 3 and the permanent weakening of the next 2, one becomes a once returner, sakata gami. That is, one whose final awakening is assured and who will be reborn as a human being no more than once. By the complete abandoning of the 5 lower fetters, one becomes a non-returner, anagami. That is, one who at death will not be reborn as a human being but in one of the 5 pure abode, realms corresponding to the 4th dhyana, where he will gain final enlightenment. By the complete abandoning of all 10 fetters, one becomes an arahant, never to be subject to rebirth again. The attainment of any of these 4 successive paths of string attainment, once return, non-return, and arahantship, constitute the 7th purification of knowledge and seeing.
All right, thank you. The last paragraph of this subheading.
What precisely governs which of these 4 states is attained is not clear in the earliest text. 2 basic possibilities seems to be envisaged. Either that at the first arising of the transcendent path, depending on individual circumstances, one may attain any one of the 4 states immediately. Or 2, that one must attain each state successively, either in one life or over a series of lives. The interpretation of the later tradition is also not entirely clear. Buddha-dosa seem closer to the later understanding, although one may attain each state in such rapid succession that one is in fact goes straight from being an ordinary being to being an arahant, as we shall presently see. Vasubandhu seems closer to the former.
All right, thank you. Any comment?
Well, I have a question. So here, where it says as a stream attainer, it says you will become enlightened with a maximum of 7 rebirths. Does this 7 rebirths relate to back to the earth as a human being, or back to the form, or back to the desire realm?
Anywhere.
Anywhere, 7 times.
I don't. It's anywhere, but they don't born. As far as I remember, according the way one is, they would not born in the place that the realm of formless, and of course some other places too, like the realm of the place that had thoughtless are thoughtless. Yeah.
So my question is more like, so it means he can still be born many times, more than 7 lives, but
no.
But
No. Accordingly, it has to be born 7 times only. The maximum would be 7 times. Then he has to attend the arahantship.
Because this leads to the next one. Because the once returner, it says he will only be reborn as a human being once, no more once. So.
Yeah, that's generally understand that way.
So does that mean he can be born multiple times as well?
No, just once.
But as a human, once as a human, but he can still be born as a divine being.
I mean, this is general understanding. I think in some other way of saying, actually, the main point is not be a human, but to be born once. There was still is other interpretation. So.
In other planets?
No, because we certainly believe that there are 3 rhymes, you could say 3 rhymes, right? The essential rhymes, and then the rhyme of form, and the formless. In Chinese, 就是欲界、色界、无色界、三界嘛. The three rhymes, right? Yeah. I don't have the I'm not sure, but I think I'm not sure here. Only here now notices that. So did he say that to be a human being?
Yeah, he specifically say so in the second one, but he didn't specify in the first one.
I don't know, but I could be influenced by some other tradition like the Northern school, but it could be. Probably in certain passages the Pali did say that. I don't know, I'm not sure. So, but certainly for sure it means he will be born once. Yeah. But whether it has to be the human being or not, that's, I don't know. Yeah.
I have a question. Say someone in one life, he abandoned some features, become the once returner. Why the second life? I think he already forgot the first life things.
Yeah.
So why he just return once? He will make another karma.
No, it could come out, of course, it's all linked together, right? If there's someone who before, I mean, let's say he was born as a human being this life, previously he actually was the Sakadagami, once returner, right? So he just returned, and he might have a difficult life or whatever, and it's still, there were so many ways of explaining. Some explain that when they come back, he has to, maybe somehow he might have to have a difficult life in some way because in his long old past karma, so it could be, you know, especially the important karma could be ripened to that person. But then somehow he will learn the path. From that learning.
Before learn the path, he could make a new. Before he know.
No, he make new karma. Only Arahant and Buddha don't make new karma.
Yeah, I know.
But they are not Buddha and Arahant yet.
I mean, if he made a new karma, he should have another life to do.
No. If he make new karma, of course he always he will have a future.
Yeah.
But he's not the Buddha, so he will make new karma.
think the question is more like
I don't understand.
If one has karma, is that the reason they have rebirth? Not necessarily.
No, the reason they have rebirth is because still the craving or existence is there. Maybe best to answer this way, yeah. Because even though he reached say that person reached the stream enter, once returner, right? He still have a subtle attachment of existence. That craving is still not completely eradicated. That's the reason why he will be born again. But the karma itself, you could say the karma itself, because he had attainment in the past. So that karma, like almost like a strong karma, that will force that person, then you will attain the arahantship by this life. Yeah. Because previously he was built up this so strong and good karma there already.
Say if he killed Buddha like that, experience.
Hey,
No way. Pure regard.
you mean when he killed the Buddha? You mean one life?
Before, yeah, before he take the back.
Then he had to go to the hell for a long time first, and then, well, there's a debate in Mahayana, but I'm not talking about Mahayana, but in general understanding, then he will go to the hell. But of course, because the hell is not the eternal place, even though he lived there maybe billion life, but then he also still he has planned the good karma before he learned Dharma, even though then he committed, a big wrong, yeah. Okay. All right. Any other? Do you get the point here?
I mean, the last point kind of intrigues me, so I kind of want to see how it unfolds. Because for my learning, it's like you have to first become a stream enter, once returner, non-returner, and then arahant. But then it says, well, Vasubandhu says that you can actually become, you can jump. That intrigues me.
I mean, yes and no. I mean, I have to say because my understanding is I don't generally, actually, I do not think the Vasubandhu think it the way like he put it, like he stand in the side of number one. Actually, he also said the both thing.
Okay, so is it possible that?
But I won't say Vasubandhu. I'm not sure. I cannot be precise about Vasubandhu. I was saying about the Sarvastivada school, the Northern school. They also actually said both sides. It's almost similar thing. To me, it's a similar thing. But maybe he find one quotation from Vasubandhu said something. Then you could say that's what the Vasubandhu present. That's not necessarily. That we only based on the sources we have. If that was true, I don't know. Yeah.
So is it a case where a stream enter has a rebirth as a human being, and then he?
All these are the same.
The second.
Actually, about this, the stream enter have 7 lives. The maximum, not has a maximum, will be reborn 7 times and so forth. All are the same. There's no any all have there's no any differences between those versions. They do have a certain difference. I'm not going. That's why I didn't want to say. But since you asked, in certain Sarvastivada school, actually they believe that so-called the 7 life, 7 reborn does not represent 7. It always means 1 life in the heaven, 1 life in the earth, 1 life in the heaven, 1 life in the earth. In total, they believe that was like almost 14 kind of rebirth. That those are the discrepancy between the party sources, certainly, than the Northern school.
Okay, so
the other, I don't think they have any. As far as I remember, they don't have differences opinion with that. Only that so-called what mean by 7, and there are some other, of course, different opinion with regard to. There are several types of arahants. How someone become arahants. Jaja, for example, and if you read what you could when I give a talk about Yogacara, so like that, But the Yogacara school, the Yogacara Bhumi, that means Yishe student, certainly has more associated with the Northern school. But then that not necessarily similar to the Theravada understanding. That certain type of arahants. Anyway, this is all in very detailed. So this is big enough for you to guys to understand already.
What's the most simple way to become arahant?
I think this is not your question. Everybody become a monk, hope that best is just become a monk, immediately become arahant. I don't answer that question. I can only tell you that. And that's the reason why we joked last time. People say this is a guaranteed arahant course for 10 days. You pay, about $2,000-3,000. And then a lot of people really wanted to become arahant and to pay $2,000-3,000 and just to join the course in China.
And that means the possibility is depends everyone's effort. Different effort.
No, I don't think. Effort certainly is the main thing, because without effort, you don't know whether you can succeed or not succeed. But without effort, there's no way to talk about it, right? So when I say I don't think so, I'm not here to disagree about effort. I mean, there's no exception that effort has to be there. But it's sometimes in the long run, it's also must. If you look at it, sometimes it must also have to do with the karma as well, I guess.
So
Even though we don't want to become almost sound like a determinism, whether you become arahant or not, it's all about now how much you pay attention, how much you work hard, and so forth. But I guess it's everything. Like people say, if you want to earn money, definitely you need to work hard, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah. But do you know that not all the people working hard they earn money?
So how about the first one? The first, yeah.
Sure. I guess not the same thing.
Yeah.
You could, if in the Pali tradition or some other tradition generally, if you can reach to understand what is the reality of the Dharma, you could say that if you work hard, it's almost like you can guarantee you to be up to the stage called, the purification. At least you can have the purification by crossing over the doubt. Mm-hmm. But of course, if you're really good, then you could have the one in between that by crossing over the doubt, the number 4 purification, or number 5, by knowing and seeing what is path and not path. Okay. And let me see.
The number between number 4 and 5?
Yeah. Oh. It's believed that once you're in between that you see the Dharma already. Okay.
Is that stage of the Sotipanna
Mm-hmm.
about the same stage of the Sotipanna?
No, the Sotipanna is on the 7th. But usually you could say it on the 6th, then go into 7. Okay. Yeah. But usually, of course, complete way is mean by the 7. Yeah. Mm. However, some also said you could reach at least the stage number 8. It depends. So actually, the borderline is not very clear. If you look at from the sutta perspective, it's almost like when you're number 4 to number 5, you actually have seen the Dharma already. But according to the part of purification system, I think they put it on number 5, and then the number 8, it's the kind of like the stable one that you really understand, kind of like you understand all the Dharma, but you still not have it. A person still has an attempt, like a Sotapanna. Yeah. Okay. But if from the sutta perspective, it looks like number 4, number 5. It's when you're in number 4 and number 5, you actually know the fact already. Yeah. Now, maybe this is how actually you start to know, have a sense why the sutta perspective And the Abhidhamma perspective, sometimes actually, even in the long history, they don't agree with each other. Yeah.
Oh, I have a question. If someone already become the first, the Sattva karma, how could he know? Or is any like something happened? Like somebody tell him, or his master, or her master tell her?
I mean, of course, my understanding is first, he know what kind of process he has gone through. And then, and of course, supposedly after he have gone through the process, say that he entered the stream enter, then he still, somehow there's a moment he know what kind of thing is removed there and what kind of thing still stays. Actually, in the sutta, there are many kind of many simile was explained. It's almost like when you study something, somehow, say that when you study English, so when you complete the whole course, you somehow know you can manage to read that thing already, but what you still need to be improved if you want to be better, right? So, but this, only the objects, it's not about learning, logical learning, but it's more about yourself, you know, there was something in yourself, so how you are, you know, and as I say, firstly, maybe you know because you had gone through what kind of process.
So you have some, like you mentioned, already experienced something, you know the knowledge, that's it? So you can practice in your life, and maybe you should do something else. Depends what.
You mean the stream enter, when someone have a 10 stream enter, can you do something else? Yeah, there are a lot of discuss, sorry, even they disrupt, even it happened. But even though it's very few, I don't think disrupt is there. Let me think. Not disrupt, maybe. I don't remember disrupt. Maybe yes. I cannot say it for now. Forgot already. That haven't read this kind of thing long time. But certain that stream enter could even the attend stream enter, but later he will not practice for a long time because of the life reason. He have to do something else. So. Or maybe because some obligation he has to fulfill in, you know, like that. Yeah.
So, but that already become the main karma in his life. So next life he just rebirths like.
Either 7 life, you know, that's according to the Pali, it means he will just have 7 life of rebirth. Why 7 life rebirth is all about his karma, right? He could become Arahant the next life. But he could be, because of karma, it's not that good in a way, so he could be on the 7th life, yeah. On the 7th, the last life, supposedly, yeah. Any other? But of course, if you look at Mahayana, the Mahayana have different way. Mahayana will say that actually, if he even decide that he doesn't want to become Arahant, he change it. Yeah, in the other life. Yeah. You know, this is because it's not changing. It's not almost like you change because you become bad person. It's like you just kind of like saying that you can have a way to hold it, then not enter the Arahant, but in order to, yeah, to reborn again and again, because your vow changed that kind of your bodhisattva. Yeah, your vow. I won't say the bodhisattva first because it depends how you define the bodhisattva, but your vow will change because your vow is stronger than actually that what suppose your past karma was there. Yeah.
Does that happen when you die, or it happened when you obtain, when someone obtained the Arahant, the life before Arahant, he evolved, then he want to rebirth again? Yeah,
the life before he attained Arahant. I mean, in some life, then he just wanted to.
That happened when he died. Just before he died, he made
No. Making a vow is not just before he died. Actually, the vow, I don't know why. Vow mean actually, usually it's like, you know, maybe one of your life, you have make a really strong commitment there. Vow mean by that, a strong commitment. And it's believed that some person, when they practice, they have somehow there's a story saying that some people who trying very hard, like you say, working hard, and then to attend the stream mentor, but he couldn't. But it always stuck there, even though whatever kind of method he tried. And it's believed that then he is able to read his past life, and he found actually his past life always making the vow to become a bodhisattva. Well, not the vow to want to become a Buddha. Actually, that means he become almost a bodhisattva. So if he make that kind of vow, it doesn't mean he don't practice. He practice all the time, but he doesn't mind whether he attend the stream mentor or not, because that's not his goal. So now this life, he wanted to become stream mentor, but since many past life, he didn't mind, and he didn't want to think about that. The main thing is just to keep on his good practice, but, you know, have a different purpose. Anyway, so only thing he had to make a decision by this time, using his meditation power, that he need to abandon a vow or not abandon a vow. There's a story there. But as far as I know, then that monk actually he didn't. Then he still keep his vow. Okay.
So if you want to become a Buddha, you cannot become a stream mentor first?
I just answered the question.
Right. I'm just wondering if I understand.
According to the Pali, of course, we don't talk that because there's no such a thing about how you become a Buddha, right? But I add something. I say in Mahayana, I believe that in any time, you actually still can change your mind, right? Well, according to Kumarajiva, it's very clear. Kumaraji said, if a person can make a vow to become a bodhisattva, how dare you say other saint cannot make the vow? So, you know what I'm saying? That's certainly if you have a Mahayana way of thinking, but do not talk this to a Theravada monk, they think you're crazy. Okay? When you learn Buddhism, it's when somebody don't learn that, they think you're crazy, you're talking something crazy. Because they don't have that idea at all. They have no such a knowledge to them. But if you are more like a scholar, when I say you have to reach all sources. Of course, you could choose later sources or early sources. Even in early sources, some school have a little not clear. There's no such a defined answer there, right? But I'm saying that as a Mahayana, even early Mahayana or any other Mahayana, as I say, Kumarajiva is, if you want to include Kumarajiva as whom, what kind of Mahayana? He should be the early Mahayana. He is not the latest Mahayana, not like a Tibetan like that. Early Mahayana, definitely in early Mahayana, I believe that, you know, anytime you can change your mind, but you could be a saint already, but you still change your mind, you know. Well, then that depends on how you think about that, especially people who have that Mahayana mind already, understand the Mahayana. So there's a good way of it. I mean, you don't care, you just attend it, then you can regret later. Yeah.
You can revert.
Yeah. Many places.
Once you become a Sotapanna, you can still revert.
Yeah.
But if you choose to be a Bodhisattva, then you cannot go to the Sotapanna.
Yeah. That's just okay. That's a good way of put it. That's what I mean. Saying that if the more long time you have made the vow, if you want to enter the Sotapanna, you cannot enter the Sotapanna. That's what I said. Like there was a story. When I say story, I mean there's example like a monk, and he could do that, but then when he looked at his past life, he was trying very hard, and then anyway. So it's sad the story that he know that actually make that bodhisattva vow for a long time. So only thing he could do is only he have to abandon that, you know. So, yes.
So, is the motivation for a vow similar to like having desire for something?
Not in their terms, but then this is a big topic. you have to really understand what the desire means now. This is not just one we can just answer immediately. I don't think, I mean, you know, I guess the attention when we talk about the Buddhist path here, if you from the parties understanding the Buddhist path, the attention is all leading to, the path is leading to the Nirvana, right? And then you're asking another question, is that whether vow is a desire, in some way, sometimes they do not relate in such a way. But sometimes when people asking question, according to my life, they answer yes. That's a kind of they wouldn't say the word desire, but they would say that is a kind of defilement as well, or you could say klesa, 烦恼 in Chinese. It's a little there, but this kind of that's a tricky part. This is my way of put it, is if you want to be a bodhisattva and then you want to become a really powerful person or the beings, then you have to still practice like the Arahant. There's no any differences. But the difference is that they still must learn how to maintain that kind of vow, that to save people. Because to save people is a kind of vow. This is what later on called the Mahakaruna, the great compassion. So that keep you to be reborn and reborn, because you can attend Arahant any time, but you know that if you attend Arahant, you will not reborn again, and you will not able to develop more about the perfection. So yeah, so you cannot develop the perfection more, because the develop perfection means the 6 perfection or 10 perfection, depends on what the list is. But you know, it means you need to meditate a life, 1 life, 2 life, not like now, let's say, or if that's how they calculate. Say that if you, let's say, just say simple version, say that actually only this life will learn meditation, but because you have a good karma, you're working very hard, blah, 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 good condition for you, and then you attend Arahant, say that, okay. But imagine you only this life learning meditation, but the Bodhisattva, suppose every life they learn meditation, billion life. So you could know that, then you could somehow knew that their power is much superior. If you, even though you say I don't forget the past life, but they still link, because all especially your virtual part. That's the reason why. That's what they call perfection. Okay. Understand? 就是波罗蜜嘛, the perfection. It's paramita. So when that be perfect, so the path is the same. It's only when I say same, not necessarily the same. This practice, the content is the same, but then they maybe add something more. I put it this way, maybe. We're going to have that, I guess, the passage later. All right. I guess any other comment and questions? Yeah. Yeah.
For the Western people or people from other religion, if they don't practice meditation, then how can they enter being kind of like another kind of Arahant or go to heaven?
And there's no way.
But I do believe someone like Gandhi or Mother Teresa, they are very noble and very great person. They present the best of a human being. And how do they just get out of the human life, rebirth and everything?
No, because they are the good person. They develop maybe. Gandhi, of course, he does. He did meditation. There's no doubt. But let's say some they don't. The meditation, I don't know what to mean by that also. But I want to say, they do contemplation, right? They do have the faith to their God or to a certain person. Remember, even in meditation technique, we have a technique called the contemplation to the Buddha, to the Sangha. To the Sangha means the holy person, right? You could, in the modern language, you could say, a saint or holy person, noble person. If they always contemplate to Jesus as a holy person, they certainly maybe have experienced the profound light. And some even, if you look at some Catholic nuns' experience about their so-called contemplation, And they actually, some say they see the hell, they see the heaven, they see the pervasive big light and so forth. And that, this kind of thing, if you put it in the Buddhist meditation understanding from a Buddhist perspective, that you could say he reached at least because if you contemplate the Zen according to the Buddhist, the power of purification, you could reach at least the access concentration, right? But if the access concentration is so strong, so like been doing that all the time with his good virtue, the sila, the jie, the virtue. With the good virtue, of course, they always can reach the heavens.
So even a person without religion and he has a good virtue.
Yep.
The pure.
According to reach to heaven, you don't necessarily must have the meditation, but this is why we say the wealth. Usually we call marriage. Of course, this Chinese say well, it's wrong. It's marriage. So you had a marriage as person having a good virtue, 就是戒福嘛 in Chinese. So when some people have the marriage of because not only just that, but they also embedded that the marriage of the heaven. So in that in Buddhism you have the jhana. So.
Also if you wanted to be born in heaven, I think didn't the Buddhism also think that if you're doing a kusala, it's just doing
the wholesome thing.
The wholesome thing, the 慈善业,
you can go to heaven, but usually that kind of heaven it's only the big. Usually I understand that born to be the heaven is a realm of sensual. They have female male body. Yeah, no, 欲界. That's the reason why you can see even according to their scripture, what they always describe the heaven with the female male body. But only the jhana, just a moment. Only the jhana, or when we say that when you have a marriage as to the heaven, it means you have jhana. That also include you could choose to born in the heavens or female or male, what we call the sensual realm, but you also with the jhana power, you enter the first jhana power. They are become a form. Those places are only unique sex. They don't have female male body. And this actually, if you look at the Indian religion, it happened, but not in the monastic religion, as you know, like in Christianity or what. Yeah.
Follow her question. My question would be, so those kind of saints, or they go to the heaven, but it's not necessarily guaranteed go to the non-return.
No, they are not become the saint as what the Buddhists think they are the stream ender. That's why I say, according to Buddhism, if you do not do meditation, and in general, I mean, there's irregular case. We are not going to talk about irregular case now. No, you don't do meditation, there's no way you can attend the stream mentor and so forth, no. So the Buddha, even he had been practiced, according even Mahayana or either any tradition. Even the Buddha been practiced for a long time, but he was practiced perfection for a long time. When I mentioned already, he also have to practice all the time, meditation all the time, and including the perfection, even he had to give up his hand, everything to the people. That's called perfection. Not just practice meditation as to go for nirvana, but also develop the good, the merits or the bunya. I don't know how this. The merits usually translate. 就是功德或者福德. So let's say you could just meditate, you don't practice that much. So you could next born as an arahant, very poor arahant. But like that, they always say this kind of story, right? So, but even the Buddha, imagine even his last life, he has to be meditate. There's no way he can say, we don't meditate and become Buddha. That's impossible. No. Not in the... Okay, let's have a break, and then we will come back on the scheme of 5 paths.